Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage, Laura.
Shoe change, that's right. Great observation, Mary. I was like, okay, that's the duration I could do those shoes. And I brought like 5 different pairs. Actually, Emma brought me these because optionality is important. I have $100 in my hand for whoever comes to get it first. Jack Wade, everyone. So always pay close attention. In fact, let's run Jack over a diamond, too. Compounding wins for the brave. Did you run up? Only Jack did. So for the rest of you, the question is, why not? And of course, there's some logical shoes. Proximity, you know, the folks in the back of the room, might not make too much sense for them to go for it. You thought somebody else would beat you to it. You didn't know if I was for real. Maybe you don't want the money. You feel like somebody else should have it. Or perhaps you don't want to appear thirsty or greedy or any other reason. But it's curious, right? Some of us will more quickly run to it, to the opportunity, and others will hang back. Neither is wrong, but in our quest for understanding, it would be useful for you to know why you did what you did, and for most of you did not do. So a huge reason that Diamond Day came to be was because I found myself being asked by coaching clients, other copywriters, other folks in business, Laura, how do you do it? You're a mom, you're a wife, you got an entrepreneur husband. How does that work? You do a lot of things. How? And so I'm going to share some of my journey with you to answer that question of how, to credentialize myself, and to show you a path to becoming more of a leader in whatever that means to you. So in 2008, I graduate from college. I enjoyed my college experience. I don't poo-poo college. But I had a $200,000 debt and no job. And one night, at 2, maybe 3 in the morning, after working commission-only gigs, doing business-to-business sales in the Bronx, walking from dry cleaner to bodega to try to switch their energy plan, which was moderately shady. I didn't feel very good about it, and being rejected a lot. I also worked briefly at a deli, so one thing I could teach you in 10 minutes is how to make a great bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup sandwich on a roll, in my opinion, is how you should have it. And that's where I was. So at 2 or 3 a.m., kind of desperate, I Googled the phrase, how to make money online. And here we are. I learned how to do it. I followed the directions. And that started with freelance copywriting, right? I discovered what it is. I had always fancied myself a writer. Hundreds of notebooks filled, journaling, nonfiction, short stories, plays, lots and lots of poems. And so when I learned that copywriting was not something a lawyer does, but was the type of writer that makes money, I decided, oh, okay, I'm gonna be that type of writer. I had experience in sales, I liked marketing, it all made perfect sense. And because it all made perfect sense, I found success with it pretty easily. I made 6 figures in my first year, and I continued to do so ever since. As we grow and evolve, our businesses grow and evolve. So between 2012 and 2018, I scale into a marketing services agency. That's how you scale freelance. You make an agency. So I had other writers, designers, developers, integration folks, whatever my clients might need to get their funnels, assets, and the like online. And then I turned some of that inward for myself. And I launched 3 health supplement offers of my own with varying degrees of success. They were all high revenue. The one that had the highest revenue cost me $100,000. And the one that had the lowest revenue made me the most profit, as it goes. For some of you, I'm sure that doesn't sound very surprising. But I learned a ton. And I gradually felt more and more free, because now I don't have to answer to clients, and I can do more of what I want. I got even more closer to free when I launched Eden Beauty, my skincare company. And that broke the $1 million mark in its first year. And I didn't build a team. I had a few VAs and outsourced customer service But I did that all by myself, which I'm proud of, but was also a mistake because I had fear of letting people in and building a team. But that business is profitable, 22%. Learned a whole lot more. And these days, I teach copywriting, right? I mentor on mindset and on writing. I could still tear apart your headline and lead if you like. And I launched Diamond Day from the realization in coaching not just copywriters, but everybody, that they come looking for tactics, but what they need is something a little bit different. So I offer the mindset reframes. I offer new perspectives. I offer risks and pressure taking in a calculated way. So linearly, it looks something like this. Lost, to freelancer, to business owner, and then to leader. A lot of folks teach this model these days, but it's not so linear a path, right? But it does help take you from feast and famine to freedom. But what it really looks like is something more like this. Being a copywriter is integral to everything that I do. I can't help myself. Kevin Rogers calls it the curse. And being a copywriter is a very high income skill. So I would never want to throw that away. That doesn't make sense. It's cool to be a copywriter, I swear. And so I'm able to expand into the business owner realm and then into the leader realm. But what does that leader realm really mean? It means that I can bounce back and forth into doing whatever it is I want to do. I still do freelance copywriting. It's not like that has been left behind. I'm sure I will still grow new companies. It's not left behind. That's what being a diamond leader means to me. That's what freedom means to me. I'm free to pursue what I like. That all make sense? Coming up, we're going to do a diagnostic on where you are now and where you want to go. But before we do, I'm going to tap a little bit into the how we're going to get you from where you are to where you want to go. And here's the model that I made for it. It's a quadrilateral, a diamond. Everything that I've done in my coaching and throughout my own journey has fallen into 4 sections. Mindframe. I call it Mindframe, not mindset. Why? What did you say, Sam Marie? It's not sad? It's not sad. Yeah, it's not sad. You just put on a different frame. It's much easier to change. It can serve you way more. Your mindset, the baseline general demeanor of your mind and your attitude, it's important. But I focus on reframing your shit to unleash you. Of course, that ties into the business piece, right? I have more to say about Mindframe. So let's move back to that. You can choose your mind frame. That's why I picked that. You can't choose your mindset, really. You could try. Pressurizing your language is essential here. That might be my writer's bias, but we live in language like fish live in water. So it's incredibly important that we pay attention to our language and the stories you tell, right? My story, dirty DNA. Now that I have more understanding of this, I can write a different story. And stories combine your languages, your beliefs, your patterns, your history, your desires, your yearnings, and your future. So that's why it's so important. And abundance is a cornerstone belief in this framework, because if you believe resources are scarce, they will be scarce for you. You will act and you will find whatever confirms your belief. To the business quadrant. Business is a tool to get what we want, right? It's important to remember that, because sometimes we will say, we want to grow a really, really, really big business. But when we don't really know why, and things go wrong, and we don't get that really, really big business, you're like, what went wrong? Well, you didn't have a why for building a really big business, or even a what. A what is fine. What do you want out of this really big business? Sometimes business is its own ends for people who love the shit out of business. And that's cool too. Getting that clarity, you'll be able to retrofit all of your actions towards that. Within the business piece, you need clarity and conviction in the mission and the plan. I mean, without that, I don't think I need to belabor that. The packaging component doesn't just mean like the box you put your stuff in. It means the offers themselves, the brand identity, the values, the business as a whole. So we focus a lot of our work there. And then we focus our work on scaling, systems, team, depth, and breadth. Team is how you scale. And so for a lot of my freelancers who are becoming offer owners, a challenge that usually arises is I have no experience leading other people. I've been a one-stop shop. Everything has gone through me. So there's a lot of learning and growth that comes into managing and building and cultivating a team, which is why I've invited one of the best in the world, Arya Bushari, to speak about it later. Which ties directly into leadership. For me, leadership means anything with a human touch. Delegation, on the other hand, is go send that invoice or go design that page. That's stuff I like to delegate. But when I want to connect with somebody, when I want to ask for some help, when I want to invite somebody somewhere, I do it. I get in the DMs and do it. And then once they say yes, Cameron sends them like 50 emails and here we are. Leadership doesn't just relate to business though. It's how you show up for your family, your community, your friends. There are many people in this room who do not want to build 100-person teams, but they still want to be a leader. So getting clarity and understanding on what you want your leadership style to be is hugely helpful. And that's why we work on that, which ties into the purpose and cause behind your leadership. How do you want to make people feel? I want to make people feel unleashed, motivated, and able, and worthy. So everything I work on connects back to that. And which leadership style serves you best? You and the cause is the best. Some are way more authoritarian. It's going to be this, this, this. Some prefer to bring in a board, more democratic. Sometimes when you're working with a board or leading a board, you'd say, I'm going to get your opinion on this, but I'm most likely going to do what I want to do anyway. That's a useful thing to say. Now everybody knows where you're at.
By the way, I have an incredibly valuable free gift for you. It's called the 6 Simple Mindframe Shifts that can add an extra 0 to your business. This guide is potent. It is something that every entrepreneurial person needs to see. Go check that out at mindframe.me.
Talent, risk, and time. Pressure is the vehicle through which all of this other stuff gets run. Because if you do not seek and harness and use pressure, it will find you. And then you are not in control of it. A very clear example is procrastination. We procrastinate, we procrastinate, we procrastinate. You had 2 weeks, now you have 1 day. The pressure is on. Maybe you still turn out good work. Maybe you don't. Maybe the work sucks. Maybe you're late. But you weren't in control of the pressure at all. How do we pressurize your talent to become exponentially more effective? No copywriter in this room needs to read another copywriting book. Now, if I ever create a copywriting course, you might get something out of it. But frankly, for everyone in this room, you will not need it. But what next layer of talent do you need to add on? Depends on your goals. But we need to get clarity there. And if you do want to become a more talented copywriter, we look to embodiment, right? How do I embody Carlton? I've said this before and I'll say it again. Occasionally, I will repeat myself or say the same thing in different ways because I want to be useful to you. I don't want to be smart or right by saying novel shit all of the time. Repetition is really helpful. So if I want to embody John Carlton, and John Carlton says, I want a headline to grab him by the throat, gets me going. All right, I want my headline to grab him by the throat. You don't need a new headline writing course for that, for everybody in this room. So we pressurize risk because we're taught to be risk averse, and our body and our nervous system desires to be risk averse. Makes sense, survival. But the risks will also come, no matter what. And you have to keep this in mind. Risk is everything you did not plan for. So if you made a contingency for X and a contingency for Y and a contingency for Z, Those are not the true risks. The risks are everything else. The end of 2020, nobody had a contingency for COVID, most likely. So that was a risk. The more we understand that, the more we can create exponential risk to the upside. Jack, buying 100 NFTs, created exponential risk to the downside. And he learned a great lesson from it. It's always valuable. But if you just buy one or two, then you create the risk to the upside. And we pressurize time as well, in both directions. Normally, it's how do we create things faster, faster, faster. But what I encourage you to do is pressurize time by taking on a longer time horizon. Those with a longer time horizon more often win because things don't get smashed and crushed together on them. If I said I want Diamond Day to be a 1,000-person mastermind this year, I might be fucked, right? It's a hard thing to do. But when I understand my long time horizon and I keep playing my game, I allow for all of the pieces to come together in time. Warren Buffett is the richest investor ever because he's been investing forever. There are others who have outperformed him, but because he's been in the game longer, he has made more money. It's quite simple. And a common trope I would say about this is we overestimate what we could do in a day and underestimate what we do in a year. We make daily tasks lists that are like 15 things long, and we don't get them all done. So when we think about this and expand our time horizons, we become so much more powerful. Given that, we will move into your diagnostic, which is the second sheet in your black folder. So what you see at the top of it, you give it to Stefan, is we look at, and it's effective, given constraints of life, to depict this linearly, but keep in mind it is not linear. When we are here, it's truly the freedom to bounce around from all of them, okay? But given that, I'd like you to write an A, where you currently are, a B, which is a place you could rapidly be in, if you really chose it, if you really claimed it, and a C, with where you want to be by December 3rd, 2022. And maybe B and C are the same. Maybe for Ron Lynch, he has A, B, and C all at the end, all at level 4. Long time horizon. And then, underneath, we're going to deconstruct that and get a little bit more specific. So I have asked you some questions. Where were you last year? Whitney was working at a job she hated. Why did I ask that, by the way? That's a really important question. Because it gives us an opportunity to celebrate. And celebration is so important because it refuels your sense of deservedness. When you celebrate yourself, you're literally confirming your deservedness. And entrepreneurs are classically trash at doing that. So you need the nudge. Where are you now? Short description. Where will I be ready to rapidly ascend to after Diamond Day 2? And where will I be by December 2022? 6 months is not the longest time horizon in the world. I am aware. But we're beginning to chart the path. You can write this with an understanding that it's a potential new beginning time horizon that we'll keep working on together.